The Elder Scrolls is a franchise that I really never gave too much thought to. That was until Bethesda released the Oblivion remaster, and well, 6 months later I've played through Daggerfall, Skyrim, and now Oblivion. That's a long story, but regardless, today I want to discuss a sort of wish list for the next Elder Scrolls game, whenever the fuck that comes out. So with that all out of the way, let's do it. Skyrim dumbed down a lot compared to Oblivion and previous titles, gutting classes and attributes in favor of these dumbass things, and a simple health, stamina, and magic increase on level up, along with replacing skill mastery with a perk tree. I don't know, I just really do not like the perks in Skyrim. I guess it's the same thing with Fallout 4's perks, where it doesn't really matter how much you grind your skills, you are still gonna need to level up to get your perk. Whereas in Oblivion, I don't know, the mastery milestones make you feel like your skills are actually growing naturally, if that makes any sense. And I think there is a lot of room for expansion in terms of how many milestones you could have and how many branches there could be. Like, take the concept of Skyrim's one-handed skill tree, but every time you say use a long-bladed weapon, you increase your mastery on a specific branch. I believe something like this would be a lot more interesting compared to whatever they are doing now. Older Elder Scrolls titles used to level lock the main quest, forcing the player to level up, complete side quests, and, well, explore the world. Later entries ditched this concept. I believe it was partially to cater to new players and partially because the stories demanded urgency. Like, it wouldn't make much sense for you to start Oblivion, get the Amulet of Kings, go to Wayne and Priory, only for Joffrey to say, "You need to be level 3 to start this quest." Where in previous games, like Daggerfall or Morrowind, the urgency doesn't arise until a few hours in. In Daggerfall, the new medium doesn't become a big deal until probably halfway through the second act. Your main quest given to you by the Emperors are, find out the cause of this spooky ghost in Daggerfall, and find a letter that was addressed to the previous Queen of Daggerfall. And while the second objective ties into the whole plot of the new medium, it isn't outwardly stated, so the game can build up to that reveal and give the player a new objective. Obviously, these games were created about a decade apart, and technological advancements have been made, along with, put simply, audiences have changed. Despite that, I feel like this laxed way of easing the player into the game is a bit of a lost art, and I would love to see it make a return. While combat in the Elder Scrolls has definitely improved over the past 30 years, I would say that it certainly has more room to improve. For starters, the way our weapons react with our enemies could be a lot better. Think of Chivalry 2. Shiv uses a system that traces raycasts along the weapon's animation path to determine hits. Weapons will collide with enemy weapons, shields, or anything that gets in the way, only registering a hit when the ray intersects with the opponent's hitbox. Mods similar to this exist for Skyrim, but just imagine this being added to the base game along with the ability to bind moves like slashes, stabs, and overhead swings to different buttons. This of course is a very unrealistic expectation, but it is a nice concept to dream about. Along with this very hack and slash style combat, I feel like enemy AI could be improved in certain ways. For example, if an enemy attacks you first, then their AI should be more aggressive. In these cases, you'd have to block and parry, using brief pauses in their attacks to get hits in. If you attack an enemy first, their AI should be more defensive, only attacking when it senses an opening. Weapons would also have a chance to be disarmed, and shields can also break if the player or the AI holds a block for too long, encouraging the player to take action. While this might sound interesting in concept, I actually doubt Bethesda could pull this off. Listen, Todd, I love ya, but this ain't giving me high hopes, bud. For each entry since Morrowind, the amount of weapon types has drastically gone down. Bring back those weapons. Bring back short swords from Oblivion, throwing knives and spears from Morrowind, and the flails from Daggerfall. I know this isn't a practical weapon. I don't care. Give me more variety. Hell, just adding visual variety like the crafting motifs from the Elder Scrolls Online would be cool. Same with armor. I want more visual variety. Seeing the same pieces of steel and iron armor is pretty boring, and not every blacksmith would create the exact same item. Put simply, Bethesda should prioritize handcrafted content, leaving procedural generation for things like raiding quests you would do when you are bored and you just want to do some mindless questing. After playing a game that was 90% procedural generation, I do think that to an extent it can work, but only in smaller quantities. Fallout 4's Minuteman questline is a great example of how not to use procedural generation in these games. Repeating what is essentially the same tasks with slight variation is not engaging at all. So these are basically just small little details I would love to see, but probably won't. Improvements to horses. Red Dead Redemption style horse riding would be awesome. Bonus points if you make followers ride on the back with your character. Fleshed out followers. Now that Bethesda have successfully made interesting companions, please give us more of them. Oblivion or ESO style lockpicking. These minigames are more engaging than the Fallout Skyrim minigames, and I find them just superior. Enough said. And I think that just about wraps it up. With the release of the Oblivion remaster, I genuinely hope that Bethesda looks at not only what made Oblivion such a hit, but at the depth that was lost with Skyrim and how to bring it back. I'm not expecting Morrowind 2, at least not with Emil Pegliero writing your stories, but something that can hold a candle to Oblivion. Skyrim might be the more successful game, but I feel like that is due to it being the most stripped back version of the Elder Scrolls. Don't get me wrong, Skyrim is a good game, but when it comes down to it, for every smithing system or every house building DLC introduced, there was an attribute system or a disposition minigame axed in favor of a simpler and in some cases worse mechanic. So please Bethesda, bring depth back to the Elder Scrolls. Jesus fucking Christ. You guys want to know how long I've been trying to write this script? Nearly 6 months. Procrastination played a role in it, but mostly it was due to a lot of feedback from my previous videos from Fallout 4. So much so that I've gone through about 8 revisions of this one script until I was finally satisfied with it. As you can probably tell, I'm not the strongest writer, so when I genuinely have something I want to say, I struggle to put it into words that are comprehensible. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a wonderful day.